Give everyone a moment to join from the waiting room. As a reminder, if your item has not been called and you're not testifying, please mute yourself. Good morning. This is a hearing before the Licensing Board for the City of Boston. Today is Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. Today's hearing is being conducted pursuant to temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. This hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the city's website. I will now introduce Chairwoman Kathleen Joyce.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm also joined today by Commissioner Kiana Saxon and Commissioner Liam Curran.
The items on today's agenda will be called in the order in which they appear on the agenda. I will first ask for any representatives on the part of the licensee, at which time please state your name. Then I will ask for the representatives from the Boston Police Department, at which time please state your name. I will then ask if there are any other witnesses with personal knowledge who wish to testify. Please state your name, at which time I will swear all parties in together. Calling Correa Inc., doing business as Top Mix Bar and Kitchen, located at 257 Norfolk Avenue. The date of the incident is November 17th, 2019. Assault and battery, employee on patron in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 64, Chapter 265, Section 13A. Are there any representatives on behalf of the licensee? Is there anyone present on behalf of Correa Inc., doing business as Top Mix Bar and Kitchen? We will take a second call. Calling Boylston Street Hotel LLC, doing business as the Mandarin Oriental, located at 776 Boylston Street. The date of the incident is April 7th, 2020. Assault and battery, patron on patron in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 64, Chapter 265, Section 13A. Is there anyone present on behalf of the licensee?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. John, Aida, McDermott, Quilty, Miller on behalf of the licensee, the Mandarin Oriental. I also believe Greg O'Neill is present. He is the manager of record.
Good morning.
Thank you. Who present from the Boston Police Department will be testifying?
Sorry, Detective Hamilton is on the call, I believe.
Detective Hamilton, are you present? Detective Hamilton?
Yes, Detective Hamilton, I'm here. I'm looking at my incident report though. That incident, the one that I have, it's not from April, it's from back in January. I just want to make sure we have the right, we're talking about the right incident.
Correct, the date is January.
Thank you. I think it might just be when it was entered into our system, a clerical error on our part.
Is there any other witnesses present with personal knowledge who wish to testify? All individuals who will be testifying, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed with the police report.
Okay, good morning, Detective Hamilton. I'm a detective assigned to District 4 in the South End of Boston, and I'll be reading the police report. Around 1:40 on Tuesday, January 14th, 2020, while assigned to the front desk at District 4, Cadet Smith took a walk-in assault report from Stuart Sinclair. The incident occurred at the Mandarin Hotel at 776 Boylston Street. The victim stated that on 1/12/2020 at around 8 p.m., he was at the bar at the Mandarin Hotel. When he was getting ready to leave, he was attacked unprovoked by a male suspect. The victim stated he was put in a chokehold, thrown to the ground, and punched repeatedly until the hotel staff pulled the suspect off of him. It should be noted the victim stated the police were not called to the incident. The victim stated he went to South Shore Hospital the following day and he sustained a concussion. And he also stated that he did not get a good look at the suspect, but the suspect was 6'3", 6'4", white male with facial hair, and that there was video available. I did respond to the Mandarin Hotel and I did meet with Greg O'Neill. He was very cooperative, and I did obtain video of the incident that did show this alleged assault, and a license premise violation was issued to the hotel. slash restaurant. And that's everything on this police report.
May I inquire of the detective, Madam Chair?
Yes, sure.
Thank you. Detective Hamilton, this, as you stated in the report, this was from a walk-in, someone reported to the station?
Yes, that's correct. So the incident happened on Sunday night, and he ended up coming into District 4 on that Tuesday.
Okay. And so you do not have any personal knowledge of this incident?
Not from us getting called down there. The only personal knowledge I have of that incident is from speaking with the victim and observing the video that was obtained from the hotel.
Okay. And I think it stated in the license premise inspection notice that the staff was cooperative and they did help provide any information to you.
Yes, Greg was extremely cooperative. I went down there, I got the video, and following through with everything I needed, he was great.
Thank you. I think it's just important to note to the board that this is where this incident occurred. It's Bar Boulud. They have been closed for several months now. The Mandarin Oriental is obviously still open, but the restaurant itself has been closed. And as a result, a majority of the staff are no longer employed there. But Mr. O'Neill, who is present this evening, did speak to the security officer that was on that evening, as well as some of the other staff members to inquire as to what occurred. I think it's important to note, however, that the victim himself indicated that it was unprovoked. You know, I don't believe that the hotel or their staff had any reason to believe that an incident would occur. It sounded like it happened very quickly. But one of the security officers did intervene rather, you know, almost immediately when he saw that there was a physical altercation, and he separated the individuals. And I believe Mr. O'Neill will testify to this as well, that he removed the aggressor from the property in his party and also had a chance to speak to the victim shortly thereafter, asked if he required any assistance or aid, and the victim declined any help at that time and shortly left the premises. Mr. O'Neill, in addition to his position as the manager of record, is also the director of security at the hotel, and he's held that position for many years. And I know he takes this very seriously in his staff in terms of trying to de-escalate any type of situation and handle it as appropriately as they can, given the fact that it seemed like it was unprovoked and a very quick event. Mr. O'Neill, is there anything to add to that? I know you spoke with the staff the next day, I believe.
Yes, so I was not present for the incident when it occurred, but basically what you just stated is quite accurate. It happened very quickly on a very quiet night in the bar. Very unexpected, two parties seated next to each other at the bar. And I believe one said something that the other took offense to and escalated physically very quickly. Luckily, the staff was very close by. Security officer intervened, de-escalated the situation, got both parties separated. And then both parties left very quickly at the conclusion of the incident once it was resolved. So it was something that was not foreseen, but did happen very quickly, and I thought was handled quite well given the circumstances.
And Mr. O'Neill, did any of your staff report that they had observed any physical injuries or any type of injuries that, you know, they needed to report to you or to call anyone about?
No, we spoke to the gentleman at the conclusion, asked him if he needed aid of any kind, if he needed medical attention. He declined and left the premises right after that.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. The narrative says that there was repeated punching. My question is, why wasn't the assailant held and the police called if this person was repeatedly punched and had to be pulled off the suspect and he ended up going to the hospital the next day? I know you didn't know that he was going to go to the hospital, but my concern is that the police were not called and the assailant was not held for the police.
Well, first of all, legally, we're not able to hold anyone physically. The gentleman was very irate, as you can imagine, as it resulted in a physical altercation. So our main focus, and the one security officer that was present, his main focus was to keep the parties separated. And as I said, as they got everyone out and outside of the bar, they left very quickly in separate vehicles. So I don't think the opportunity was there. Again, not speaking personally for the person that was there, but I don't think the opportunity was there to really hold the person and wait for the police to arrive. It unraveled and ended quite quickly.
Do you know how long the parties were were at the restaurant?
The first party was there for just short of an hour when the second party arrived. And the second party arrived, the incident occurred within 10 minutes of their arrival.
Okay. Commissioner Curran, Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
No. Do you have the video?
There is video. It was turned over to the detective a couple days after the incident.
No questions from me, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Board
you.
will take this matter under advisement. Calling Paga Inc., doing business as Icon, located at 100B Warrenton Street. The date of the incident is December 14th, 2019. Patrons injured while on premise in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 64. Is there anyone present for the licensee? Is there anyone present for Paga Inc., doing business as Icon? We will take a second call.
Leslie, I feel like we had this one heard before. We'll have to look at it.
Madam Chair, Sergeant Detective Gallagher here. We did have this heard, and I believe there was a continuance put on it for some reason. I know the victim did come in to the licensing board and did talk to us with the council, and I believe for some reason it was continued to this date.
Okay.
Or date
check
that
the
would have been
file.
before this.
We'll check the file. Thank you.
Thank you,
Sorry,
Paga.
I'm the plaintiff for the victim, Attorney Rodriguez. It was continued because counsel for the licensee showed up that day saying that he only had notice of the hearing an hour before and had no information to present to the hearing.
Thank you, Attorney Rodriguez.
You're welcome.
So is the attorney for Icon here?
No one has indicated that they're representing Icon, nor has anyone indicated that they are with the licensee, but we will take a second call in case they do join. Calling Raw Restaurant Group, LLC, doing business as Miha, located at 1 Faneuil Hall Marketplace. The date of the incident is July 4th, 2020. Persons under 21 in possession of alcohol in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34. Is there anyone present on behalf of the licensee?
Yes, Charles Larner.
Who present will be testifying for the Boston Police Department? Detective Hernandez. And are there any other individuals with personal knowledge who wish to testify regarding this matter? Mr. Larner, Mr. Hernandez, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Proceed with the police report.
On Saturday, July 4, 2020, Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez assigned to the BPD Licensed Premise Unit conducted a licensed premise inspection of Miha Cantina located at 1 Faneuil Hall Marketplace in Boston. As detectives walked through the outside patio, they observed 3 patrons later identified as Carol Fletcher, Sailor Tyson, and Sydney Provencher drinking mixed alcoholic drinks. Detectives noticed that these patrons appeared young, and detectives asked them to produce identification to confirm their ages. Patrons immediately stated they were under 21 years of age. The patrons then produced fraudulent Massachusetts driver's license that contained the individual's correct name but displayed a date of birth which made it appear as though they were over 21 years of age. Detectives used a license verification program which confirmed that the driver's licenses were indeed fraudulent. The fraudulent driver's licenses were confiscated by detectives. All 3 parties will be summoned to court for persons under 21 in possession of alcohol and possession of fraudulent identification. Detectives brought this matter to the attention of the person in charge, Mr. Alex Laverde. As a result of what detectives observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued a licensed premise inspection notice 023990 for persons under 21 in possession of alcohol on premise. Mr. Lavardi signed for and accepted the notice. And I do have here in my possession the 3 fraudulent driver's licenses.
Thank you.
This is Charlie Larner for our restaurant group. I want to state that, so we had issues prior to this with individuals coming into the restaurant with fake IDs. The last time we had a hearing, Inspector Gallagher and I discussed getting a check ID scanner, which we have been doing. It was we've been doing it prior to COVID, or post-COVID, and which manager Alex Landaverde didn't understand how there were 3 people at a table when we have a check ID scanner that we've been using regularly. And it turned out that our server knew the individuals. They were friends of hers. She allowed them to drink knowing that they were underage. We fired her because of it, and I will say that we should not have been doing that. It should not have happened. We take responsibility because it was something that should never have happened, and apologize for it happening. But we had a server that allowed it to happen. We've been getting IDs. Actually, as slow as Faneuil Hall has been this summer, we have confiscated numerous IDs, and it's not something that we want to portray or be part of, and we apologize.
So, Mr. Larner, are you saying when these 3 people came in, the person at the door, I'm imagining it's 7 o'clock at night, that they were eating dinner? Would they have been carded, or would they have had their IDs run through the scanner at that time of night?
So, because of COVID, the seating is outside. This happened.
Okay.
So they came to the patio, to the host stand. All of our staff we have a corporate check ID scanner on a few phones, and everybody is told to use that check ID scanner. The managers also go around and check on top of that. But this server, who is supposed to be using that scanner as well, said she used it, but apparently did not use it. And I spoke to that server. She's very apologetic, understands how serious this is. I'm not sure if the licensing board received her letter yet, but she had mentioned to me yesterday that she was wasn't able to attend this Zoom to apologize, but she is sending a letter on behalf of herself and for the group, letting them know that she takes responsibility and apologizes for her actions.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Saxon or Commissioner Curran, do you have any questions for Mr. Larner?
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
The board will take this matter under advisement. Calling Apple New England LLC, doing business as Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar, located at 11A Allstate Road. The date of the incident is July 13th, 2020. Persons under 21 in possession of alcohol on premise in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34. Is there anyone present today on behalf of the licensee?
Yes, good morning. David Gill, Area Director for Applebee's. With me is Billy Andrews, the General Manager, and Paul Fiorenza, Manager, who was on duty that night.
Thank you. Who from the Boston Police Department will be testifying? Detective Fernandez. If all parties could please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed with the police report.
Okay. On Monday, July 13th, 2020, Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to the BP License Premise Unit, conducted a license premise inspection of Applebee's located at 11 Allstate Road in Boston. While inside the establishment, detective observed 3 patrons later identified as Daniel Portenber, Ryan Galvin, and Paul McGinnis drinking beers and mixed drinks. Detective noticed that these patrons appeared young. Detectives asked them to produce identification to confirm their ages. Patrons immediately stated they were under 21 years of age. The patrons then produced fraudulent Massachusetts driver's licenses that contained the individual's correct name but displayed a date of birth, which made it appear as though they were over 21 years of age. Detectives used a license identification program which confirmed that driver's licenses were indeed fraudulent. Fraudulent driver's licenses were confiscated by detectives. All 3 patrons will be summoned into court for persons under 21 in possession of alcohol and possession of fraudulent identification. Detectives brought this to the attention of the person in charge, Mr. Paul Fiorenza, As a result of what detectives observed, Sergeant Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice 023926 for person under 21 possession of alcohol on premise. Mr. Forienza signed for and accepted the notice. And again, we have 3 more fraudulent Massachusetts driver's licenses.
Thank you.
Good morning, members of the board and detectives. Just on behalf of Applebee's, I just wanted to state for the record that we've been in business in South Bay over a decade and have had no issues similar to this whatsoever. Billy Andrews, who's the general manager, has been in place for 5 years. And Paul Fiorenza, who is the manager on duty, has been here over 8 years, as well as running his own bar business in the business in Boston for well over 30 years. The IDs were very good fakes, is my understanding, from the detectives communicating to both Paul and Billy after the incident. Apparently, their own personal information that they send in with hundreds of dollars. And it was suggested that the best line of defense was to get the IntelliCheck app that the detectives do use. Several days after, we did purchase that, as well as the technology, to make sure that the scanner stays in-house, so that we can therefore scan every single ID that comes in and make sure that this doesn't happen in the future. As far as the server training, we have an in-house training, SABRE, which stands for Serving Alcohol Beverages Responsibly. It's something that every team member goes through upon hiring. We also revisit that and do the complete annually. It's a 2-hour course with testing at the end. Make sure that we have a training to prevent these types of things. Server that was on that night did follow his training. He did take the IDs to his knowledge and ability and training. Was not able to pick up that they were fraudulent, unfortunately. And I don't want to quote the detectives, but it's my understanding that they said that they're very difficult to determine unless you're in the business of, and analyzing fraudulent IDs. So upon their advice, we did get the app immediately. And since then, it's been great that we're scanning every ID. We do have a couple that, that come across and immediately we deny service. But I think that's a great safeguard. So again, we certainly apologize that this happened. It's not something that we're proud of. It's not something that we want to, see happen. But that's kind of where we are. I do have Billy and Paul here as well, if there's any questions.
Thank you very much. So just to summarize that, is your testimony that you did not have this scanner at the time, but you obtained it for your staff shortly after this incident?
That's correct.
In this incident, the server did ask for their IDs?
That's correct.
Okay, and wasn't able to distinguish them as fake?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Saxon or Commissioner Curran, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Calling UK USA Corp. doing business as Luca, located at 224 to 226 Hanover Street. The date of the incident is July 21st, 2020. Persons under 21 in possession of alcohol on premise in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Sections 34. Is there anyone present from Luca?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. John Aida, McDermott, Quilty Miller, representing the licensee. I believe that Richard Theodore Kennedy he's one of the owners, also present. Ted, can you raise your hand or signal? Okay, and who else is joining us, Ted?
Mehdi El Omari, manager on duty that evening, should be here as well, and Beto, the server who served the guests.
Great.
Thank you. And who from the Boston Police Department will be testifying?
Sergeant Detective Gallagher will be.
Thank you, Sergeant. If all parties could please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed with the police report.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, Boston Police, currently assigned to the Police License Premise Unit. This morning, I'll be reading from a report that I wrote on 7/21/2020 at about 10:35 p.m. Sergeant Detective Gallagher of the licensed premise unit was conducting a code 19 on Hanover Street during the COVID-19 emergency recovery phase. He was monitoring the restaurants when he observed 5 young-looking patrons with alcoholic beverages sitting on the patio of Luca at 226 Hanover Street. Thinking that the 5 looked to be underage, Sergeant Detective asked the server if he carded the individuals before serving alcohol to them. The server replied yes. Sergeant Detective Gallagher approached the group, identified himself as a Boston police officer, and requested identification from the 5 patrons. The group appeared nervous, and Sergeant Detective Gallagher asked them if they were 21. The 5 patrons replied no. Sergeant Detective Gallagher informed the server the group was not of legal age, and if the manager was present. The manager, Mr. Meldy Amari, arrived at the table, and Sergeant Detective Gallagher apprised him of the situation. Mr. Elmore stayed with the sergeant for the whole process of interviewing the underage patrons. 5 persons found to be in possession of alcoholic beverages are as follows. Iona Demler, date of birth 6/4/2000 of Newton, was found to be in possession of a fraudulent Connecticut driver's license in her name with a date of birth of 6/4/96. Aaron Sawai, date of birth 3/12/2000 of Boston, was found to be in possession of a fraudulent Mass driver's license in his name with a date of birth of 3/12/98. Kyle Oslowski, date of birth 4/29/2000 of Southborough, found to be in possession of a fraudulent Florida driver's license in his name, date of birth of 4/29/97. Suwan Delani, date of birth 1/20/2000 of Brookline, found to be in possession of a fraudulent Maine driver's license with a date of birth of 1/12/98. And Nikki Singh, date of birth 7/5/2000 of Boston, found to be in possession of a fraudulent Florida driver's license in his name with a DOB of 7/5/97. All the IDs were confiscated and shown to the manager. All the IDs will be presented at court. The 5 underage patrons will be summoned into Boston Municipal Court for being persons under 21 in possession of alcohol and possession of fraudulent registry documents. As a result, what the Sergeant Detective observed, a licensed premise inspection notice number 023930 was issued to Luca for persons under 21 in possession of alcohol on premise. Mr. Mori signed for and accepted the notice. At City Hall, while preparing this report, Sergeant Detective Gallagher was able to scan all the IDs, which verified that they were indeed fake. Sergeant would also like to add that the management and staff were very cooperative during this inspection. Those are the facts.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair, I just have a couple questions for Sergeant Detective Gallagher. Good morning, Sergeant Detective Gallagher. You observed the various IDs, and I know that Detective Hernandez was holding them up. So that night you observed those IDs, and did you comment on the fact that those photographs matched the individuals before you?
Yes, they were indeed the photographs of the holder of each ID.
And their names also matched to their actual names as well?
They did.
Okay. And I think you testified in reading the report that these individuals were all found to be 20 years of age?
Correct.
And what would you say as to the quality of these IDs? Do you feel that they had some of the distinguishing features that some of the holograms and the different marks that some of the legitimate features may have, the ghost imaging? Did you have an opinion as to the quality of these IDs?
They're good quality.
Okay. And in fact, sorry, go ahead.
Well, that wasn't me speaking.
Oh, okay. And in fact, the way you verified these were actually after the fact. You were able to run these through a scanner at City Hall?
Correct.
Okay. And certainly they admitted on site, obviously when you questioned them, they admitted that they were in fact fraudulent.
Yes.
Okay. And I know you stated that the staff was very cooperative. In fact, they stayed with you the entire process and probably answered any questions you may have had.
They did.
Okay. So I know there are a couple individuals. I think the server, Beto, is here. as well as Mehdi, the manager that was on site. I think Beto would testify to the fact that, again, he did check these IDs, and he's a very experienced server. Obviously, it was something that he was not able to detect that they were fake. Excuse me. Is Beto, are you available to speak?
Oh, I think you're on mute, Mr. Lopez. Good morning.
Hello?
You were the server that evening?
Yes, I was the server that evening. These guys approached to my table at the patio around 9 o'clock, 9:30. It was, so first of all, they came like 3 people at the table, and they asked for a couple drinks. I checked their IDs. They were look like really, really good to me.
And you've been working here for a while?
Sorry. Yeah, I've been working here for like 5 years at the restaurant Luca. Sorry, my cousin has another meeting over there. I have to walk off. So yeah, at least when I checked the first IDs, were looking really good to me. And when the rest of the party came, I did check again to the other guys, and it was the same. I can tell it was fake IDs. Seriously, they will look really, really as other IDs that I've been checking every day. And they were fine. They ordered dinner to me, and I see the police officer outside, and I approached him and I asked him like everything. Me that they look on, and he asked me like if I check IDs. I said yes. We went to the table together, and when he asked, I think these people get nervous and they say like, yeah, we're underage. And immediately I called my manager. We went outside together, and then they talk about it.
Okay, thank you. So just to summarize, you did check all the IDs, you did confirm, and it was your opinion that they were valid IDs and that they were of legal drinking age?
I did.
Okay. And either Mr. Kennedy or Mr. Alamari, maybe you can talk about what transpired afterwards when you either spoke to the staff. I know Mr. Kennedy may have spoke to them the next day, but Mr. Alamari, you spoke to Sergeant Detective Gallagher that evening and reviewed the IDs yourself?
Yes, I did. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I did meet, I was there when the Sergeant Gallagher came in, and I went to Sergeant. We went through all the driver license and I mean the IDs. They looked really, really good. Unfortunately, we didn't, at that moment, we didn't have any scanners, so I apologize that we didn't scan the IDs then, and we couldn't tell if they're fake or not. But in my view, they looked really, really good, and I think the server looked at IDs. I know the server looked at IDs, and he thought they were real as well.
Okay, and have you taken any steps since then to?
Yeah, we got in. Every manager and staff have an app scanner called Scanner, and every table we looks young. We scan it out at IDs and driver license.
And you really haven't had any issues in the past. This is, you know,
This is the first issue we ever had. We usually, it's very fine dining room. We don't have a lot of young crowd until after the COVID.
And thank you, Mehdi. Mr. Kennedy, anything to add about maybe any meetings you may have had, or any? I know Mr. Alamari talked about some of the procedures or safeguards you're taking.
Yeah, I mean, we take great pride. We've been in business for 20 years. We take great pride in serving only those who should be served. We do daily pre-meals where we talk about carding and who to card and how to card, or how to ask for ID, because we try to do it in as hospitable a manner as we possibly can. As we are a restaurant first and a bar second, you know, there was a mistake made here for sure. And, you know, we did not follow proper procedures. Beto is a very server. He literally worked his way up from dishwasher busser to food runner to server. And I absolutely spoke with him about my displeasure, and Mehdi about our displeasure over the way that situation was handled. It was not handled very well. And just so we're very clear, we have been in business for 20 years, and this is the second time, not the first time, that I sat in on this meeting. There was a mistake made 17 or 18 years ago by one of our bartenders. So I want to be perfectly clear about that. You know, so while we're very disappointed, we have taken steps since then. You know, Beto understands the seriousness of his actions. We obviously take this very seriously as well. You know, we have the app. We use the app. We try to do things the way we're supposed to, and we absolutely talk about this almost daily.
Great. Thank you. Are you doing other comments, Mr. Aida, or are you done?
I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Commissioner Saxon or Commissioner Curran, do you have any questions?
I do not.
No, thank you.
Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Returning to item 1 is second call is the licensee present for Correa Inc. doing business as Top Mix Bar and Kitchen. This item will be rescheduled. Returning to item 3, Paga Inc. doing business as Icon. Is the licensee or its counsel present? And as we cannot demonstrate service because the licensed premise is closed, we apologize, Attorney Rodriguez, for the inconvenience to you and your client. We'll be reaching out personally to the licensee and their attorney of record to reschedule this matter, and we'll advise as well to work with your schedule.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.